What's going on, everyone? Gardening with Pink here. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I brew my compost tea. Stick with me and let's get to it. So this is the compost aerator that I'll be using. Fits in any 5-gallon bucket, and I made it myself. Mika making sure it's all good, and it is all good. So I'm just adding some rainwater I collected to this 5-gallon bucket. You can't use city tap water, but you're going to want to oxidize it to get all the chlorine out. You can either put it in the sun for a couple of days, or if you have an aerator like I do, let it bubble from 12 to 24 hours. Alright, so I'm just using a commercial air pump that's 32 watts and puts out 950 GPH. It works great for my 5-gallon bucket with my aerator, and I'm still gonna see how it works with 2 of them, but right now we're just gonna be brewing 1, so it's pretty fabulous. The reason why I want to add oxygen into my compost tea is because of the living microbes in the compost and vermicompost. They need oxygen and a food source, and it encourages growth. What you do not want is an anaerobic tea, which is a tea without oxygen. It may do some benefits of sort, but it's not going to be anywhere compared to aerating your compost tea. And anaerobic tea also encourages growth of bad bacteria, which is what you do not want. The next thing I introduce into my compost tea is blackstrap molasses. It's unsulfur molasses. I add about a half a cup, and I dilute it with rainwater, shake it real good, and pour it in there. I'm using this 300 micron mesh polyester bag as my tea bag. It works great to help the microbes release easily, and it's easy to clean and reusable. I use a cup of alfalfa meal that will act as a second food source for my microbes, and it's added micronutrients to my compost tea. Time for some fun. I love adding vermicompost into my compost tea, and these worm castings came from my own worm bin. I try to keep them at a nice moisture level to stay active and healthy, so I add about 3 to 3.5 cups into my tea bag. Alright, I add my tea bag into my water, and I steep it a few times and move it around with my hand and squeeze it out, get them going, and tie it to my ring. This is my recipe for a basic biological compost tea. Now you can kick it up a couple of notches and add a few more ingredients and micronutrients, which is what I like to add. So I add like 3 tablespoons of azomite, and I mix that with rainwater and pour it into my tea so it mixes really well, and that has great minerals and micronutrients. And I also like to add Plant Success Organics Micro Chum, which has molasses, kelp, fish hydrolysate, and it's just a great extra boost and food source for these microbes. And this is how I like to make my tea. I let my tea brew for about 24 to 36 hours, and I try not to go over that, but you know, just like the recipe, everybody's different, so do what works best for you and keep it moving. This is what my tea looks like after 24 hours. Now, the foam is no indicator of how much microbial life is in my tea. It's just free proteins that have been aerated, and that can just be from the worm castings. It can be from the food, or it could be the temperature that creates the foam. It's no big deal. After I turn my aerator off, it decreases. I take my worm bag, or not my worm bag, my tea bag, and I squeeze out all the rest of that juicy goodness, and I save that for later. And while I'm at it, I go ahead and give my aerator a quick pre-wash. It makes it easier to clean later on. So from this about 5 gallons that I have, I take about a gallon and I use that for later. And then I just dump the rest into a 32-gallon trash can, recycling bin, whatever you want to call it, into some dechlorinated water or filter water. Anything is better than chlorinated water, okay? And if you're trying to kick it up a whole nother notch, I like to add microb. And if you're going to add microb to your tea, which you can do, it's great to add to your garden. You don't want to add it while you're brewing, because what I read was the fungi cannot survive for long periods of time with the microbes. And I just think it's crazy out here. Okay, guys? Literally stick my entire watering can in here, let it fill up, and try to soil drench as much as possible. And the things that I'm not going to foliar spray, I try to get it on top of the foliage as much as possible. I empty out the tea bag and I add these things into potted plants and my indoor plants. The leftover worm castings and alfalfa meal. And the rest I separate into my hose end sprayer and my pump sprayer. And I do a foliar spray on all of my plants. The pump sprayer, because it's more concentrated, I try to use on my veggies, and the hose end sprayer I use on the flower bed. The watering can I use to water my patio plants really quick, and this is how I make and use my compost tea. That's it. Thanks for watching my video. Let me know, comment below, like and subscribe. Peace out.